This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Gamefly. Coming up on Destructoid, we've got a hands-on review of Dead Island, your most anticipated zombie game of 2011, so stay tuned because you won't want to miss it. Welcome to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville.
Happy Labor Day thing.
Labor Day.
It's, what is Labor Day, really?
I don't know. Zombie Day.
It's a day to celebrate all of the laboring individuals in this country, not unlike you and myself. Although not much work was done this weekend because we got to play Dead Island all weekend, right? Yeah. It comes out tonight at midnight, but Max and I got a review copy early from Aubrey Norris, the super awesome PR chick over at Deep Silver last week. And we've been having fun with it all weekend. So we're going to give you guys a rundown on the game so far. You want to start them off?
Sure. Now, a lot of people have really high expectations for the game, and the intense slow-motion teaser trailer did help generate a lot of buzz when that was shown back in February. And really, does the game stack up to that? It's kind of different, so.
It is. I have to say, I was skeptical of this game to begin with. I haven't made any secret of the fact that I think zombie games are a fad that I wish would just die out already. And then I previewed the game back in May for Destructoid, and I really wasn't sure what to think. The controls seemed a little bit clunky, and frankly, it's just hard to evaluate a game in 30 minutes when you've never touched it before, you know, especially since this is a new IP. There's no previous games to go off of. So then I actually played it. The first and arguably most important thing I should point out about this game is that it's really fucking fun. It's certainly not without its faults, and we're going to get into those a little bit later, but just know that you will have fun playing this game. There's really no arguments to be made on that point. You were also skeptical going in, right, Max?
I was skeptical. I played a brief demo at E3, and I wasn't exactly impressed, but that was based on like a hurried 10 minutes of zombie punching in the middle of a loud trade show. Now, to get a proper feel for a game like this, you really need to immerse yourself in it. It is a massive open world, and there is a lot to do.
There's a lot.
However, Tara is absolutely right. The game is fun. If you want a really solid game about killing zombies, you are not going to be disappointed.
You really won't. So let's talk about the story for a second, because one thing that I noticed and appreciated is that there's not a whole lot of fluff at the beginning of the game. You know, you've got that scene where you go to the rap concert, you're like kind of stumbling around, and then you see somebody like, you know, dying in the bathroom. Like, I like games that let you kind of jump in quickly and you don't have to go through this like hour-long backstory about it, you know?
That's true. I mean, I think whether or not it has a solid story is kind of a yes or no question. The four characters you can choose from all have really fleshed out backstories, but the beginning of the game is kind of the same no matter which one you pick. You basically just, you know, wake up on Dead Island. Each character is really more of a class type than a personality, and you know, while character-driven storytelling might be a little weak, there's really plenty going on in the world around you for it to be, you know, pretty interesting.
So even with the kind of like limited storytelling, it does a really good job, I thought, of kind of pulling you into the story. Like when you wake up and you're stuck inside of the beach hut with all these people, you do kind of have that genuine feeling of like terror and like solitude from the world around you. But at the same time, you feel this kind of like connection and camaraderie with the people who are stuck there with you. And kind of the best comparison I could make of it when I was playing is that it's a lot like watching Jurassic Park. Like when you watch Jurassic Park, you know, you're kind of on the edge of your seat. You feel like you're almost stuck in there with those people fighting off velociraptors, and that's a lot like this game does a really good job of achieving that kind of same feeling.
I do love Jeff Goldblum.
I do too.
But speaking as someone who's seen a lot of zombie movies, I think Dead Island really nails the zombie outbreak scenario. You start the game completely alienated, and there's like a tense feeling of isolation, and as you explore the island, you're going to meet other survivors and discover other strongholds, and of course you fight off hordes of the undead. And you know, while doing this, you really do grasp how dire the situation is. Dead Island, I think, achieves what other zombie games like Resident Evil, Left 4 Dead, and Dead Rising have been unable to deliver, which is like an actually suspenseful zombie outbreak scenario. There are these long periods of quiet exploration in a deserted location, and, you know, they can suddenly escalate into a fight for your life in a way that feels really organic, not like, you know, walking into a room, tense moment, and then, you know, someone shows up. It's, you know, you could be just coming across a single zombie, and that could mean fighting a single zombie, but it could also mean fighting like a huge horde of them who just come out of nowhere. Now, obviously, not everybody wants to hear about the whimsical isolation of this tropical wasteland. Some people just want to kill some zombies. Tara, tell us about the combat.
So, as far as the actual combat goes, I feel like that's something that they've kind of tightened up a lot since I first played the game back in May. One thing that I noticed, and that I'm sure you guys will too, is that your swings feel very productive, and there's kind of this added sense of realism because your character, and especially in the beginning of the game, gets exhausted really easily. So you have an exhaustion meter basically. So you can only swing so many times before that runs out, and then you'll sometimes find yourself having to run away every so often just to kind of catch your breath. And they've also got like panting sound effects that just kind of add a layer of realism to it all. Now, as you just like that, very moaning, actually. So as you level up, your character gains stamina, obviously, and learns how to handle weapons a little bit better, so it's kind of all relative. I played as Purna, the former police officer and resident gun expert. Max, you played as Sam B, right? The rapper?
Word.
Yeah, he's kind of the tank of the group, I think.
Yeah, blunt weapons specialist.
Yeah, pretty much. So in addition to your normal, like, beat someone with a stick combat style, each character also has a special rage meter, which, when filled up, gives you this special fury move depending on your character. So for instance, Purna's special fury move is that she gets to like whip out a gun and then get like a really nice headshot in, and it usually kills a zombie in one go if you get a headshot. Just like added damage, stuff like that. So now the skill tree is a lot like World of Warcraft in the sense that it's got both active and passive skills, but it also incorporates skills specifically for co-op play, which I thought was interesting. So for example, one of the skills you can choose increases the collective damage done by everyone on your team while you're in your fury mode. They have other skills like, you know, increase your rage by 20% or something like that, or decrease your time it takes to regenerate your rage. So while I think it's interesting that they've incorporated skills for both single and co-op in the game, it does render a lot of those skills useless if you don't like playing co-op, which I have to admit, I'm not the biggest co-op fan in the world. I don't like teamwork or
some of the skills
like
are actually really interesting. There's one that just makes you a decoy, like you attract more dead, which is kind of a weird thing if you want to actually, you know, garner more experience, because there are points where you're walking around with kind of, you know, low down, like, quiet times.
Yeah.
So if
it
you want to
depends,
get chased
I
by
think,
the zombies,
on your character as well.
Totally.
So weapons, we've talked about this before, like in Dead Rising or Fallout, you've got the ability to craft your own weapons from existing items. The first and most obvious one you get in the game is the nails attached to a wooden stick. You've probably seen that from Dead Rising. They called it in this game the Nailed Stick, which is a nice little nod to Nailed, the racing game, previous title from Deep Silver, which I also really liked, and coincidentally was the very first game I ever previewed for Destructoid, so memories. Anyway, although the game doesn't give you a ton of recipes to go off of in the beginning, in fact, I think the nailed stick is the only weapon you can craft in like maybe the first 4 or 5 hours of the game, there's really no shortage of loot to be found anywhere. Like, they've got pretty much the perfect amount of things you can find. Energy drinks and snacks are going to be how you regenerate your health, and they're scattered pretty much everywhere, because a lot of your time is spent out on the beach where there's like, you know, bars and beach huts, and there's just stuff scattered everywhere.
You'll find
rowboat paddles, which you can use as weapons, rusty pipes. You'll also find cash money on almost every zombie you kill, and also pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, so, I don't get that. I mean, this chick's running around with like half a torso in a bikini, and somehow she has $17 on her. I don't know where you were keeping that.
You don't want to know where those were stuffed, Max, but
dirty,
you can use the
money.
money to mostly upgrade and reper your weapons.
Yeah, it's a good in-game currency, money.
I should also mention that the driving mechanic in the game is solid. It's available from the very beginning of the game, so it does a good job of kind of breaking up the time spent running around on foot, and it's also really fucking fun to drive straight into a zombie at 80 miles per hour and then have to punch out your windshield because it's broken and covered in blood. Just, you know, small things like that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Now, the downsides of the game I encountered are, they're more in like the logistical functions. For instance, the map and inventory system could both use improvement. At best, they're clumsy and a little bit counterintuitive, and at worst, they're confusing to the point of frustration, and you find yourself shouting, "You asked me to bring you juice boxes, Sanamoy! Take them from me! Give me my 1800 XP!" There's some parts that just are a little bit wonky, especially after playing a game like Fallout 3, which had a fairly streamlined navigation and waypoint system. Figuring out some of Dead Island's quests is actually a little bit sloppy. That being said, no one is buying this game based on the promise of a menu system or navigation. It's an open world game about killing zombies, and in that area, it absolutely delivers. Dead Island's visuals, gameplay, and overall atmosphere more than compensates for any boring faults it might have. Now, let's take a second to thank our sponsor, and we will be back with our final impressions as some of your questions. Obviously, you guys like video games, and since you like video games, you should probably check out GameFly. It is the largest online game rental service with a library of over 7,000 new and classic titles for a wide variety of consoles and handhelds. You can become a GameFly member right now with plans starting at just $15.95 a month. When you sign up, you can rent up to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as you want. There are no late fees and shipping is always free. And when you're done with a game, you just send it back to GameFly and they'll mail you your next available game on your list. If you really like the game you've got, just click Keep It on the GameFly website and it's yours for a discounted price, and GameFly will even send you the case and instruction manual free of charge. Now, there are a lot of big games coming out in the next few months, and GameFly is without question the most affordable way to play them all. Now, for a 15-day free trial, just hop on over to gamefly.com/Destructoid. It's a great service, and just signing up for the free trial helps us make this show. Again, that is gamefly.com/Destructoid.
We love video games.
Video games.
Video games. So on Friday, we asked a bunch of you guys if you had any questions about Dead Island, and we got a pretty good response on Facebook and Twitter. Let's go ahead and ask some of these questions. Andrew Danielle Oronia asked, how big is the island, on Facebook? Obviously, you know, we didn't have time to finish the entire game, although the review that's going up on Destructoid will have completed the game, but it's hard to say at this point. I would say it's about equivalent to the size of maybe the map in any of the Fallout games.
Yeah, it's a big game. In any case, it's busy. There's a lot to see there, a lot to explore. There's some like underground tunnels and there's stuff to climb in, and
there's a lot of different places. And you know, the game is like 20 to 25 hours, so it's gonna kind of take you everywhere. Yeah. We're only able to see like, you know, a relatively small portion of it, but still.
Jaya Halasi asked, are there mustaches? This is important to me.
I did not see a mustache.
I wasn't really looking for mustaches. There's a lot of people with shit on their face. If you're interested in weird looking like bloody mustaches, I don't know. Ron Stratton asked, is it just Left 4 Dead with some RPG elements on an island, or is there more to it than that? There is absolutely more to it than that. Left 4 Dead has a very arcadey feel, and there's that emphasis on multiplayer. This is a lot more of an immersive game.
Yeah, I just personal preference, I had a lot more fun with this than I did with Left 4 Dead. I didn't want to stop playing this, but I had to.
Left 4 Dead is way more linear, and it feels a little bit nerfed just because, you know, you have infinite ammo. In this game, there's actually some survival horror elements where you do have to, you know, conserve ammo or actually take care of your equipment. So
it's a lot more
I liked
open
it better.
world.
Left 4 Dead's a great game, but I mean, as far as it's more of an arcadey game. This is a much more serious game.
Sean McDonnell asked, do zombies, ghouls, and/or any other manifestation of the living dead make an appearance? It's just zombies, but they do have several different classes of the zombies. And basically you have to learn techniques on how to deal with each of them. Probably the most terrifying one is the ones that charge at you from like 30
I think they're called infected, and
30
they just
feet away.
and they come at you.
Yeah, because you'll be in like a quiet area, just thinking like, oh, this is peaceful, I'm on vacation. And then somebody will just like, you'll start to hear screaming, and you're like, where does that come from?
And basically you just kick them in the face, and they fall over, and then you know, proceed to bash their faces in with things.
Yeah, and then there's the huge guy with straitjackets where I hear you have to go around them and kind of attack them from the back.
Yeah, there's what are they called? I think they're called thugs. They're really the big burly ones. They're basically just, you know, muscle men.
Yeah.
They will swing at you, and they're really slow, which is kind of the advantage there. But if they swing at you, it'll knock you back and take off one notch from your health.
2 swings will kill you.
Yeah. But the trick there is you basically have to go up and break their arms, and then they pretty much are just like, and they headbutt you, which can still hit you, but it's easier to take them down.
Yeah. So there's a lot of strategy.
There's probably more stuff in the game we didn't see, because it's a big game. Robert Sawicki asked, does the game feel in any similar epic and touching way like the trailer, or is it just trying to be like that? Maybe it's not all like this. I'm really curious if we can get a nice action game packed with a story that makes you shit your tears.
Here's the similarities I noticed. The game, it's more emotional than I thought it would be, and part of that is because they have the kind of slow piano music in the background. It's not as prevalent or obvious as it is in the trailer, you know, for obvious reasons, but it's still there, and it does kind of give you that kind of calm, but also like scared feeling.
There's a lot of downtime, a lot of suspense that actually has a chance to build. As far as compared to the trailer, that I don't know if that really was a faithful representation of how the game is. I'd say the game is probably as good as that trailer, but in totally different ways. What's funny is actually in the beginning of the game, when you first start out, you can go into the hotel room where that teaser takes place, and you find the guy lying on the ground with his fire axe, and there's a big hole in the window. So that's cool.
So yeah, there are some There are some elements like that in the game. Like you encounter a lot of people in like really sad situations.
There's
like
one girl who's like, "Where's my teddy bear? I need my teddy bear."
Exactly.
So you get her teddy bear.
It's not as silly as I thought it would be. The game,
no,
actually.
it's a pretty serious game. Jesse Hernandez asks, how many different types of weapons are there in the game? Is it similar to Dead Rising in the way you can combine other weapons, other objects to create better weapons?
It's like Dead Rising in that sense. I'm not going to say that there are as many weapon combinations in this game as there are in Dead Rising, but like I said, we didn't finish the game, so much later in the game, it's possible that it kind of the number of weapon combinations
the weapons have different levels. They
exponentially.
have different sort of qualities to them. Like you'll get like a spiteful crowbar and you'll get like a fearsome crowbar, and you're like, I don't know which one's better, but this one's in better condition, so I'll use that one. JT Conrad hit the D2Ed show on Twitter and asked, how much does the RPG element of Dead Island actually affect the gameplay / consequences?
It affects it a lot, because every time you level up, it only takes usually 1 to 3 points to acquire a skill. So you can within maybe the first 10 levels, you can have a pretty badass character depending on which skills you choose.
Like I said, the characters in the game are more of classes than they are true characters. The missions are not tailored to oh, you're a rapper, or oh, you're like a ninja chick. So there's some of the RPG elements feel a little bit tacked on, but at the same time, it's open
still
world.
very much a classic RPG.
Brysa said, are there wrinkled zombie tits? Yeah.
Probably, but you don't see them.
You don't see any full frontal tits, but I mean, I gotta say, the bikini lady model they used is pretty good, so that's
I hope somebody releases
nasty.
a patch.
Oh, there
for
will be.
that.
There will be Nude Island, yes.
Derek Owen asks, was there anything major you felt was lacking, especially in the story or combat system? I want something serious, not cartoony like Dead Rising or arcadey like Left 4 Dead. Is it worth picking up on launch though? Since this is the 3-month period where every single game of the year is deciding to come out, is it one to wait on?
I would say it's worth picking up, especially because we've got a little bit of downtime until November when the really big stuff starts hitting.
Like we said, I personally think it's better than either of those games, and I was a big fan of Dead Rising. That game is fucking fun.
Yeah,
but this is fun and serious at the same time.
No, it's more. It's less arcadey than Left 4 Dead, and it's definitely less cartoony than Dead Rising. In fact, what I liked about it is it lets you go around and explore in a world filled with zombies, but there's not some guy calling you up on a fucking walkie-talkie every 5 minutes demanding you talk to him. So I liked it a lot better than Dead Rising in that sense.
Droop DK tweeted at the D2Ed show and asked, think the reveal trailer set the expectation too high or gave off a different tone than the game has?
I think it set a good expectation. If that trailer hadn't gone viral, there would not be as much hype for this game as there is.
Definitely not.
But I said earlier, it's
they had a very specific objective that they wanted to achieve with those trailers, and they did it. Whether or not it's perfectly indicative of the game itself remains to be seen, but the game has its own emotional qualities to it, so I don't think we should necessarily disregard that.
Smiley Barry asked on Twitter, have you had a chance to try the PC version? If so, how is it? Also, is it worth the release price or what? We actually didn't get a chance to try the PC one. However, our producer Zach was saying he thought that the menu system, which I had problems with, would probably work better on PC, which is worth checking out. There's a lot of games coming out right now. It depends how much you want to play an open world zombie game.
Yeah. Talon Smash asked, are zombies becoming the Call of Duty of horror, or can devs still give us refreshing takes on the subject via story?
One, I would like to say the upcoming Infamous DLC is about vampires, so it looks like things are taking a turn for the Twilight. Second, I think that if you want a really good zombie game, this is the one to get. It's a lot more. I want to spend more time with it than I did with previous zombie
I think
titles.
it's got a little bit more replay value than the
absolutely.
other games. Yeah, and it's also just a long game. Like even if you just kind of play the main quest, you're still going to get 20 hours out of it, which in my opinion is worth $60. But if you don't want to shell that out, you can always rent it.
Your final thoughts? What do you think?
Okay, so final thoughts. I'm really pleased with how the game turned out. Like I said, I was skeptical before. The small logistical problems I had, like navigating the map system, it gave me some troubles, but those problems really weren't glaring enough to hamper my enjoyment of repeatedly stabbing zombies in the dick and then yelling, "Die, zombie motherfucker!" So yeah, I would say this one's worth buying.
Yeah. If you're looking for an open world action RPG to hold you over until Skyrim, Dead Island is definitely worth picking up. So
Yeah.
I would give it my blessing. And if you're looking for an extremely immersive and believable zombie outbreak simulator, this is probably the most faithful one to date. However, if you want a go-kart racing game about U.S. presidents, you're going to be horribly disappointed because that's not what Dead Island's about.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but like to stress again, I'm really kind of against zombie games, and I had a lot of fun with this one. And even after our review, I'm going to go home and keep playing it, which says a lot about me. So that's our review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you buy or rent the game, be sure to tweet at us at DTOID Show and tell us what you thought of it, because we're interested to know. You can also find Max and I on Twitter. He's Max Scoville. I am Tara Longest. And this Thursday, I'm going to be going on Anthony Carboni's new show, New Challenger, to review his review of Dead Island. So look out for that on revision3.com/newchallenger on Thursday. And Jim's review is going to be going up on Destructoid.com
He will write more
probably on
words than we
Monday
wrote.
or Tuesday. In the meantime, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.